Lovely evening. Okay, so I'm going to start the meeting with any apologies. I don't believe we've got any apologies.
No apologies.
Thank you, Mark. So moving to the next item on the agenda, which is to sign the minutes of the 4th of April. Are you all happy for me to sign the minutes? Yep. Okay, that's that done. Declarations of interest, please. Any interest, please declare them. There are no part 2 items. It's going well so far. There's no public questions. And we come on to item 6, which is the appointment to outside bodies. Now we have the thing that appeared in your papers, ignore that. That was what it was last year, and we've had some discussion. There's a new set of papers going out. Was there anything you wanted to say, Barn, on this?
Thank you, Chair. No, apart from to say we have a list of vacancies on your desk, you should have the up-to-date list of nominations, and we're asking you to recommend those to full council for approval. The only other points I just want to raise is if you are successfully nominated to those outside bodies, then you will have a responsibility to that body. And also, please be mindful and be careful that once appointed, that if you need to amend your register of interest to declare another registrable interest, then please do so within the statutory requirements of 28 days. That's really as soon as possible.
Thank you, Ban. That's quite right. So I've put a sheet around with them. There are a couple of corrections, once again, to the amended tab. On page 2, Exeter Charities on the top, where we had Alderman John Landers. John is not particularly well at the moment and won't be able to stay. And so that should read Councillor Alison Sheridan. Okay. The other amendment to what it is to the Exeter Canal and Quay Trust, which you should delete portfolio holder for climate change and ecological crisis, Josie Parkhouse. So in moving these amended changes, what I would say to everybody, most of them are portfolio holders, because that goes with a portfolio. They are representing the council, and particularly like where you're trustees, for example, the Canal and Quay Trust, you have been appointed on the basis that you are a trustee, 1, of that charity, and 2, you represent the Exeter City Council. You have not been appointed because you have so many seats, so a political party has so many seats on the council. It's not governed by the Local Government Act, which says you have to have, it's not governed by any of that at all. Nor is it governed by the fact is that this trust has an impact on your ward or anything else like that. You're not appointed for that reason. You are appointed to represent the council's interest, and then obviously de facto a trustee, and you'll learn all about the 1922 Trustees Act and all that your fiduciary responsibilities to that organisation, what you have to declare and don't declare. There will be trustee stuff for you to sign. We are going to be looking at these things. I'm going to be asking for reports where that's necessary from some to either come back to the executive and to go to scrutiny if they want to look at it. And if it is noticed that any positions that people hold on these, they're not carrying out those duties in accordance with the requirements, I will be bringing this back to this executive committee, and we may have to make some changes. So on that point, do I have any questions? Councillor Mitchell.
Thank you, Chair. And to support the comments you made, I think there are 2 clear points I'd like to make. One is, I think between now and next year, we ought to do an audit on these to see which are still in existence and ask them whether they still wish members from Exeter City Council to sit on these bodies, and for us as the council as a body to decide in future which ones of these we continue to service with members and representatives. I think that audit is important to ensure that we've got an ongoing relationship with these organisations. And the second point was the point you covered. I think where we do have members on outside bodies, there's a duty, I think, at least annually, to receive some form of report from the members on any outside body, either to this executive or to scrutiny, so we can continue to have some oversight of the work that's being done in our name. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'll come in at the end. Is there any other comments from any other members of the executive? Councillor Wright.
Thank you. Just quickly, could I ask Mark, please, are these bodies going to be contacted on our behalf and then they'll contact us?
Yes, following council, the team will write to all the contacts we have on the system. This year, we're also going to write to, probably in a letter form as well, just to confirm that they've received, and also to make sure the contact information that we have on file for them is correct, and obviously just find out as well, just to make sure that give us information about what we just discussed, that they are, how often they're meeting, and frequency of meetings, etc.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, before I put it to the point, I would say yes, we will do some work on this. For example, the Topsham Community Association is an appointment, but I mean, for instance, some councillors are on the Exeter Community Association. I feel sure some people are on the St Thomas or wherever, whatever. We don't include them, so we need some sort of standardisation for all of this at some stage, and about it, to make it make sense. But there is a history to it, that we have these outside bodies. I think there's something about maintaining your history in some way, but we have to make it relevant. And those letters that will go out asking what our involvement is with them, and then we'll be able to deduce from all of that. Put regular reports. I mean, the Key and Canal Trust minutes, for instance, come to this executive in any event. So they all come, so that's quite important. But things like the business centre board, very interesting. You know, is that doing what we wanted it to do? We set it up as a business centre to bring on small businesses and everything else. I don't know. Is it working? Isn't it working? You know, that's all I would say. So we've got a couple of councillors on there, and I've now got Duncan Wood on there, Councillor Wood on there, who will be asking those questions and will be hopefully telling us all about that. So most of these are quite important. So all those in favour of the sheet as handed out and then amended yet again. All those in favour?
That's unanimous, Chair. That has been carried.
Thank you. Item 7, members' allowances and expenses paid. Those are the recommendation there, Barn.
Yes, thank you, Chair. There's really nothing much for me to add, apart from to say this is a statutory obligation on us to publish, and just to highlight that the allowances that are paid in accordance with the Independent Remuneration Panel recommendation, which comes to us annually.
Okay, any comments, questions? No. All those in favour of the recommendation, please show.
That's unanimous, Chair. That has been carried.
Item 8 is members' training. We've got one recommendation that the executive committee note the report. Barn?
That's me, Chair.
Oh, you, right. Come on.
So most members should be familiar with this report. So this is our quarterly update report on members' training, and just to give just a refresher that it was a request of the Councillor Development Steering Group to bring a quarterly report on members' training, and the highlights the tours and shadowing opportunities that have been made available, and the number of completion certificates are also included. And this is the number of sessions held between December last year to April. Key highlights of note is that only 5 events have been held during this period, but ironically is actually an 8% increase since the last report forward for attendance. And the feedback forms have unfortunately decreased, but of the feedback we've received, 82% were very satisfied with the training that was provided to them. Also, just to note, our license for our training platform is due to expire later in the year, so we do continue to encourage all councillors to please utilise it while we still have it.
Mark, which one's that? Is that
It's
SSS?
the SSS online training platform.
Hands up who's done some modules on that one. Very good it is too. One of them's quite depressing, in my view. I mean, you do need counselling afterwards because it's quite a serious issue. Yeah,
And
it is.
if I may, Chair, it's just to highlight as well the use of the feedback form to let us know that you have attended, or if councillors were unable to be in attendance, that they've watched the recordings, and just to let us know so we can mark your attendance accordingly.
Okay.
Thank you.
And a reminder, there's licensing tomorrow night and planning on Thursday night. We'll look around and see if there's anything to do on Friday night. So, yes. I know. Any questions from the leaders? Councillor Moore.
Thank you very much for the report, and our group very much, I'm sure we all do welcome the training that we receive. Thank you. I just wanted to feedback about the training on scrutiny. It would be good if that could be brought forward early. So because we have a new intake of councillors and new scrutiny committees, and the work that was done last year was really helpful. So it'd be really good if that was brought forward as soon as possible, because obviously committees are starting quite quickly. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, no. Okay, I'll open up to members of the committee. Anybody want to say something? Councillor Wright.
Sorry, I think you know what I'm going to say. Just getting back to the SSS online training. When we asked people to do it originally, we recommended that you take the GDPR training, because as councillors we are individually responsible for our own GDPR, including breaches. We're not covered by the council, so it would be really good if you haven't already done that, please do that. But also, once you've done the 2-3 recommended ones, there's a whole raft of training that you can do, which is really useful to us as councillors in the current climate. There's one on county lines, which really gives you a good understanding of what that is, and very relevant at the moment. Knife crime, all sorts of things, domestic violence, so that it just gives you a bit more confidence to deal with things that come up to us as ward councillors. So please could you spread the word, leaders, to your group as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Especially the county lines is very good. I've been going through it, and particularly when you think about the partnership meetings that we go to, and also the safety meetings with the police, which we all attend. Councillor Fole.
Thank you, Chair. Just two questions for Mark, really. Mark, if we miss it live and we go on the iPlayer or UCC Hub or whatever it is, we let you know. That's
Correct. There's the feedback form which my colleague Joe sends out after each session. If you either feed that in or contact Joe and just let her know that it has been viewed and it's been seen, so she can update the record accordingly.
Do you have any ideas how we improve the response from 3 people?
More training. And Joe can be very persistent.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Williams.
I think one of the issues we've got with the feedback forms is that on the iPad, the link that Joe diligently sends out in the reminders, it doesn't take you to the feedback form. There are issues, and the only way you can access it is to go via the intranet and the councillor's link. So you've got quite a few clicks and steps to it, and for new councillors, I expect that they won't know how to access the form through that route. So it's how to access it from the iPad. It's not easy at all.
Thank you. So on that point, all those in favour of the recommendation, please show.
That's unanimous, Chair. That has been carried.
Thank you. And it's 5:41. Mark, please look through the records to see if this has been the fastest executive ever. No, we must have had a quicker one. Oh, yes. Okay, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening and see you all soon. Thank you.